host of Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. I am Sir Chad Everett Broshears. Yeah. So, if you followed the series up until this point, and or are just coming onto the series, or just happened onto the series, I am. So, for 2022, I'm working specifically on taking every single area that I've wanted to develop myself in, and I'm working on it. I've I realized on December 30th, 31st, yeah, uh, yeah, no, it's the last of December. I woke up and had realized that given all of the goals that I've had, I accomplished every one of them in some degree, right? And most of them I accomplished fully, with one exception. There was one thing that I've realized that I had as a goal for once I turned 41. I had a goal before I turned 42 to accomplish something specific, and I missed that one. That's the only one that I missed. And that one was for my younger brother, actually he's the youngest of us, of the six of us, Craig. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. He is so incredibly talented and funny, and I had been pushing him to put together a stand-up routine, just to go out to an open mic and just, try it on, pursue it. And he had a little bit of momentum built up. He started writing some stuff down, and then it just fizzled out. I just couldn't revitalize it. Couldn't get him to get back to it. Going to do it. So that I would get on stage and do a comedy routine. Now, that's the only thing out of everything that I had wanted to accomplish for 2021, and even two major life goals. That's the only thing out of all of them that I didn't accomplish or make great strides in, and they're still going now if it wasn't completely accomplished. So, but there's no, okay, I'll get to it. It's everything was like, there's action on everything except for the comedy routine. So that's coming. So, last night, to continue on the training, every 90 days I'm taking on a new discipline, something that to develop myself that I've wanted to do. So for the first quarter of the year, the two things that I'm working on specifically is professional singing lessons, which I had my first lesson last night. Absolutely loved it. Had such a great time. My instructor is fantastic. She's very knowledgeable and kind. But yeah, they just had so much fun with it. So the other thing that I'm working on is I am going to be taking dance lessons. So I have a really good friend of mine that wants to do dance as well. So once she's completely rehabilitated from her recent surgery, we'll be taking some dance lessons, and we're seeking out swing dance. So that's another one that'll happen very soon. The only reason there's a delay is simply because of the recovery for her. Otherwise, I would have already been signed up, and either have already had my first lesson or will be having my first lesson. Now, point of all of this is I have met people in my life that were, nearly a decade younger than myself, and had developed so many disciplines and so many skills that just left me in absolute awe. I just can't believe how incredibly accomplished these particular people are. And specifically one, it's a friend of mine, Jeremy, and it's my ex's brother. Everything about him just seemed like he was so incredibly well-rounded. He was charismatic, he was funny, he's charming, he could play ukulele, guitar, I believe he can sing too. He's just a very incredibly accomplished person, and and so humble about everything that left me with why, because I look for the structural values that help prop us up, and prop up who people know us to be. And it came from this family and how his family was so incredibly proactive. Same thing with my ex, is she was incredibly involved in things, specifically in her youth. She swam and did things like that as well. So, and her parents had her very involved, and it had me reflect back onto my own childhood, my upbringing. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong, because there isn't. It's I came up the way that I came up, and it made me who I am now. But reflecting on it, I was like, well, yeah, I can see how they became so well developed, so well rounded, is because of the efforts their parents put in, and then how they had them involved in things. And I grew up in the country. We were a good 10 miles really from any cities of any sort, or even big towns. So it wasn't like we were going to soccer practice, it's like, because it was a bit of an inconvenience for my parents to even get us involved in things like that because of the distance and, their own constraints they have in life. So now in my adult life, I look at it and say, okay, well, if I missed that in my youth and I would have loved to have had it, well, I need to care for me like I'm my own child. I need to care for who I'm becoming and cherish and protect that thing. So I need to develop it. And so what I'm doing is taking myself and putting myself through these types of lessons to develop these new disciplines. So yeah, that's it. It was I absolutely loved the lesson. I mean, I felt the angst come in a couple of times, and as soon as it did, it just did what it did for me whenever I had social anxiety issues, or those challenges would come up. It was the angst turned into some excitement, and I love stepping into that angst, as once I get that, it's like, okay, I just overcame something that would have stopped me at another stage in my life. So absolutely just love it. And that's a beautiful thing about this, the growth and the path for maturity. It's like, I just want to be better at things and enjoy them, enjoy life. The fullness of life lies on the other side of what we're unwilling to do, often. So, love the singing lessons, looking forward to the dance lessons, and just from the conversation last night, my singing instructor, she's looking into finding saxophone lessons for me, because that's part of the second phase, or the second quarter of the year is to take saxophone lessons. So, I love it. I'm not taking singing lessons because I want to become a professional singer. I mean, if I get good enough, then great, if I could find, options there, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it just because I want to develop. I've been self-conscious of my voice in my youth, and I just choose not to be that way. It's like, yeah, my voice is the way it is. You think of it, like, how many different artists have very unique voices. Again, not doing this to become an artist that's a known person or anything like that. I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking to just engage myself in life and just, fall in love with life. I love life. I don't want to fall in love with it, and that's through that expression of myself. So, I've got amazing things coming soon. The role model role that I have, and then the next phase and what's about to happen in my life is significant and life-changing. And I want to make sure that I can always be that positive role model for people, and the developmentally positive role model. I don't mean optimistically positive, because there's times whenever we should go through things that are not exactly the greatest joys and value, where we feel like we're just, doing all of the good things and the happy things in life. And there's going to be hardships, and there should be hardships, and I look forward to those hardships because of what they do for me. Developing the diamond of what people may know me to be. So polishing it up and all. So anyway, so if you're not that engaged in life, you don't need to wait for January 1st next year. I'm one that doesn't wait. I I had already started putting things together well before January 1st to do this new direction. The only reason why I have a timeline of quarters at a time, so 3 months at a time, the only reason why I have that is because of scheduling and to not take one discipline and mingle it in with another discipline and taint the experience. From where I'm at right now in my development, this is the better course for me. So so the first quarter again is 2 disciplines in the first quarter. In the second quarter, I may take on another 2, but I just don't want to put in so many that it's hard to really get the full experience of individually, each one individually. So, but I say that because that would sound like I'm putting timelines on when to do things. That's the logical reason for it. I'm not one that wants to wait if I don't have to, and I try to weigh everything out. So if I am looking at, you know, I'm not going to wait till January 1st to change my diet. I'm not going to wait till January 1st to exercise or to better balance my budget and my checking account. I'm not I'm not waiting for those things. As soon as I realize it's something to do, I take it on. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Figure out what it is that brings that passion of life to life. I shared a post recently on social media. It's on my Facebook account actually about about if people perceive you to be odd. It's not. Sometimes it's not that you're odd at all. You're just around the wrong people. And from that particular post came up like what's next. It's not everybody's going to accept you, and that's obvious. We know that, and we shouldn't have to have everyone accept us. There's beautiful differences that we all have. But that post also got to talking about singing karaoke. That I passionately embrace life and I just take it on. I want to enjoy things. And, from that there was a discussion with a friend of mine online, and she said how rare it is to run across or come across somebody that is so engaged in life, specifically and especially a guy that's so engaged in life and enjoying themselves. And I thought to myself, how much of an injustice is it that we have people, specifically even on a specific gender, although I don't really care much as far as the gender specific conversations unless that's the frame. I think that it's just in general people suppress themselves out of the fear of negative judgment and being rejected, and the whole point of that post was to say that if you're rejected by some because they feel you're odd, then even better. You're just around the wrong people. Most likely. There's other little caveats to it, but we'll keep it pretty generalized there. So, but that was the conversation I had. Yeah, it was like, this is why wouldn't we want to express ourselves? I get it. I mean, I've had the same fears, and I don't want to have those. I refuse to have them now. I just say, okay, if that fear is present, then I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to address it, and that's how I'm going to get rid of it. It's not for me. I'm not going to live my life restricted that way. So if I get negatively judged, then fantastic. I'm capable of dealing with it. So let's embrace life. The whole point of that long diatribe is just to say, we'll take on life and create what you want, and do it a step at a time. So my goal with this is to be that type of person that I idolized in my ex's brother. That I looked at and saw with such admiration, is that he is the way that he is because of what his parents put him through, and he took time to go through the training and development to get there. Now he has natural gifts, but then there's other things that he's conditioned over time. And I'd like to use my natural gifts and condition things over time as well. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I encourage you to join me in this process. It's probably one of the greatest things you'll ever do, as of the doors that'll open for you and the experience of enriching your life. So, all right, well, that's it for today. Share this video with a person in your life that comes to mind when you're watching it. That could be a great icebreaker video, so you guys can start a conversation that can be meaningful. Discuss the merits of the conversation that I've given if you need. I'm not saying I'm right. If anything, I'd just like to inspire and let you guys take the conversations wherever it goes. Now, with that, what a great experience to create the life you want. So it's not always easy. Sometimes it gets sticky. It's pretty hard. But what else are we going to do? I'd rather have the end of my life be something where people like this guy lived. This guy lived. And that's what I want. And I'd like to be able to encourage others to do the same. So until next time, I am your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and this is Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. We'll catch you next time. See ya. Oh, by the way, get up to something. Let's get up to it with me. Let's go.